Now, to help us make sense of the campaign rush ahead of 2027, I'm joined now by, well, in the studio, Director, Center for Democracy and Development, that's the CDD West Africa, Garuda. Thank you very much for joining me. And also with us here is the Director General, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. Thank you very much.
Good evening and thanks for having
joining us on this week. So, well, it looks like there is a rush towards 2027. But first off, I'll ask both of you gentlemen, what do you make of INEC's warning to politicians? Would you say that this is a timely warning, or is it already too late in the day because the genie is already out of the bottle? Let me start with you, Mr. Dauda.
Thank you for bringing me on this, and I want to say that it's already too late for that, because this is a warning that should have come much more than 6 months ago. I think in one of the interviews that I had to grant on current developments, I made it clear that this was the first time in the history of our democratic journey that before the midterm, you've seen people talking about the next elections. And it also in a way ties squarely to what I've also said about our democracy, especially in recent time, that the only thing that is a perpetual project in Nigeria now is elections. So as you swear in a winner today, tomorrow you are sure of starting another process of the next elections. So I think that the political class, or especially those who are elected into public office, should busy themselves delivering their promises to the citizens in their campaign, especially in their campaign promises to the citizens, rather than the kind of attention we are currently seeing. I know the tendency is for people to say that, well, we are seeing pictures of people all around in big posters and everything, but some of these pictures do not necessarily carry political parties' logo in them.
Right.
So in a sense, they may want to disagree with us that is campaign that is going on. Walking into this compound, I met one of the vehicles, the trolley vehicles in this compound, labeled with the pictures of Mr. President all over. And for me, it's difficult to say that campaigns are not already on. Campaigns are really, really on. And for the party that is currently in power, it is too real for them, because I want to believe that others are still organizing. Anything could still happen to the coalition that is about to be put together.
Right. Okay, let me bring this to you. Same question, really. I mean, do you think INEC's warning is timely? And how much bite really does this warning from INEC have? Can it even enforce, you know, anything as far as the issue of early campaigns are concerned?
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, what INEC has actually done is not just a warning. INEC has issued a reminder that is grounded in law. First of all, INEC cited section 94, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022.
Yes.
And there, INEC was able to lay clarity to the fact that you cannot commence election. You cannot commence, you know, canvassing for votes earlier than 150 days before the election day, or 24 hours to the election itself. That's one. INEC also cited section 95, subsection 1.
Yes.
And in it, INEC did say very clearly that even in the campaign, that those campaigns must be conducted consistent to the regulations as may be deemed fit by INEC. With this, INEC, for me, has rolled out a clear reminder to all politicians. Recall also that INEC in the quarterly consultative forums, you know, they usually have it with civil societies and political parties and then security agencies and all that. In the last quarterly consultative forum, they reminded politicians of these same campaigns. You see, there's this saying that politicians are just interested in elections.
In the next election.
While statesmen are interested in giving the dividends of democracy.
Right.
In Nigeria, it's ironical that we are talking about re-elections and all that right now, where we have myriad of problems.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of problems in Nigeria. Are you talking about in 2023, the inflation was at 22%? In other words, right now, the inflation has galloped to 35%, even after the rebased the rebased economy has done. It is still, the still is about 22%, slightly above 22%. But the prices of goods and services does not reflect that. What the prices of goods and services are reflecting is that we are buying things 60% higher than what we were buying in 2023.
In other words, this, what looks like campaigns, is a distraction from good governance, with which Section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, actually talks about the security and welfare of the people will be the primary purpose of government, or governance, if you like. Let me bring this back to you, Mr. Garuda. I think somebody once said politics is too serious to be left to politicians alone, and that seems to be what we're seeing in Nigeria. It's just politics all the way from the elections, you know, to when they should be governing. But to the extent that these endorsements, you know, billboards and all kinds of things are out there, can you really say that these amount to campaigns? Like you said earlier, I mean, there are no logos of the political parties on the billboards that you see out there.
Yeah, for me, I think people are hiding under the cloak of
endorsements,
certain development. Like I mentioned, the issue of the logo. To start with, for campaign to start, at least if you go through INEC guidelines, primaries would have been held.
Right.
Party flag bearers would have been known. They, emerged and known. And then guidelines that are in place in terms of what can happen and what should not happen will also have been clearly stated. So if these are just the indices we want to see before we say a campaign has started, I think for those who want to win election, in the language of those who are the followers, they will have to wait for 150 days. And I can tell you for free that some persons will tell you that you are not even ready to go for elections if you are waiting for 150 days. But this does not in any way stop things from happening within the various political parties.
At least underground.
Yes, but it is too obvious now. And like I said, this INEC warning should have happened much more than 6 months or over 6 months ago.
But do you think, so, let me stay with you, I mean, INEC warning, do you think INEC is empowered enough to the extent that it will not only warn, but actually enforce
that is where I'm going.
INEC, yes.
It's easy to talk about Section 94, subsection 1. Then the next section, Section 95, is also saying something. What is the consequences for doing this? You are saying 1 million naira for violating such law. What is that? And 1 million naira is nothing to those who are currently involved in some of these things. One. Then two, there is a bit of INEC is assumed to be those who are involved in some of these things see themselves as bigger than INEC. In what sense had INEC been able to pull the stick or weight the stick in maybe developments before now, for you now to expect that there is much INEC can do to punish those who are involved in this? If the course of developing our democracy over time, including the era where we had to put in place an Waste Commission that recommended that we should have electoral tribunal in place, we should see beyond just trying election offenders or accused election offenders. It should have been something that also a case of this nature be taken to such courts and get, okay, can we get a judgment on this?
Right.
As it is, INEC only reminded people. I think I like that word you use.
Yeah.
It's a reminder and not necessarily a stern warning as in your opening statements.
So in other words, Dr. Nwambu, INEC is a toothless bulldog. Do you think there's a deliberateness on the part of the political class to actually weaken the electoral umpire, in this case INEC, in a way that they can only maybe just remind or warn, but cannot enforce the rules? I mean, this section 95(1) of the Electoral Act states that a candidate and their party shall campaign in accordance with such rules and regulations as may be determined by INEC. How strong are these rules by INEC? Is INEC just a toothless bulldog? Is that why we're seeing what we're seeing?
Well,
is there a deliberate effort to weaken the electoral umpire?
Thank you so much, you see, for that question. You see, most of us have actually opined that INEC should be unbundled. INEC should concentrate on the fundamentals, the basics of conducting a transparent, free, fair, and credible elections. There should be a body, that should be in charge of electoral offenses. Differently. There should also be a body that is in charge of political parties, the regulations, registration, and all that. So that INEC can concentrate on the real job. And some of us have actually opined that the appointment of INEC chairman, the national commissioners, the resident electoral commissioners should not be done by the executive arm of government.
That's a fundamental issue here.
Of course. Because it does not make sense. Somebody that would, whose fate will be determined by INEC, then the highest person in the executive arm of government is the one appointing them. It does not make sense. It doesn't work. Some of us have recommended the NJC, although the NJC might not be all round perfect. It might not be, but at least it gives it some level of credibility, so that INEC will be really insulated from the influences of the executive arm of government. So you see, what is happening now is more or less, they tell you, some of us have argued. There were some resident electoral commissioner that were appointed in the last dispensation. Some of us, almost cried. Persons that were campaigning for the former president wore the uniform with political parties, were dancing and all that, were made national commissioners. And some of us said that these things cannot work.
The current chairman of the governing APC was once a staff of INEC, as a matter of fact, a federal commissioner. And
that is one of the opinions we have actually stated, that it is not right.
It's an anomaly.
Somebody who has been a resident electoral commissioner of INEC, or somebody who has worked in that commission, should be banned from contesting on or having anything to do with politics for at least 10 years. What is the idea? Because he knows the rules, he knows the tricks, he knows the intricacies, he knows where to fire enough pressure for the system to collapse. So he's definitely most likely going to use it against the system for its own interest.
An advantage. Dr. Garuda, what impact really is all of this? Whether it's endorsements, whether it's actual campaigns going on, whether it's alignments and realignments or consultations or even preparations, if you like. What impact really is it? I mean, why should we be concerned? What impact is it having on governance at the end of the day?
Yeah, for me, at the end of the day, people were promised a 4-year period of sustained development. And in the midway of delivering that development, or not even up to the midway, like I already acknowledged, people have other distractions in delivering those stuff that were promised the people. and now you are talking of another elections. For me, I think that the citizens should have the opportunity of weighing, at least based on the promises that was made to them, or that were made to them, assessing whether these have been delivered or if they are going to have a rethink in the next elections. But things are getting mixed up now. So you want to ask yourself, the campaign we are getting, is it to intimidate us into submission, to beat us into submission that governance has been delivered, even when some people say they have not seen it, and some people say that they are waiting for, we've seen the face of reforms, now we are waiting for the face of the delivering of the dividends of those reforms. So for me, we are getting to a point where the issue of giving good governance to the people will be stalled. And the next attention or the next focus will be on the next elections. And what will then happen is, very soon, you're going to see a series of conflicts between those who claim they are already delivering and those who claim that we are yet to see what was promised. Right. And you cannot but say that some of those things might also deteriorate into crisis or even conflicts. So for me, as it is, if INEC is able to muzzle what is within its powers to deliver, it should go ahead and let's see if that warning or reminder they've done can be converted into a stern warning by way of proactively addressing some of the even if I already said
punitive measures, not just another
exactly. Even if I already said the 1 million naira is nothing.
Do we even know what apart from this 1 million naira fine? I mean, what do we know about the punitive measures that INEC actually has in place to, for this offenders?
You see, for me, the key issue to even establish, which I'm saying, that even when you go to court tomorrow, they can be conveniently escaped, is the posters you are talking of.
They don't
bear any political party logo. Right. So, but we all know that people are canvassing for elections. And we all know, we are seeing the posters, they are staring in our faces in Abuja here. Even in the face of anger by some people that they are not seeing good governance yet. So for me, I think that the political class need to reach a certain consensus that we are taking the people for granted in this situation.
Let me bring you back here very quickly before we wrap. Dr. Nwambu, I mean, what does this really say? Because it's not just the governing party that is, going out there where you're having endorsements of the president for 2027 and what have you. They would even blame the coalition and other parties for, setting the standard. And so what do you expect the governing or the ruling party, if you like, to do in the face of this, strong, what looks like is an emerging, very strong opposition that may, at the end of the day, really capture, power come 2027? What does it say about our politics and the trajectory of our democracy if things continue this way? Because it looks like it's just, the power grab, what some call power grab, just the desire to grab power and not necessarily to deliver good governance. How is this hurting our democracy and our politics overall?
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, what is actually happening is that although the posters you have now do not have logos of political parties, the persons that are found in the logos or the billboards have consistently denied, knowing anything about it. So that makes it even a bit more difficult when you want to prosecute, because since they have owned up to say they don't even know anything, they have not contracted anybody to...
You can't hold them responsible.
Yes, you cannot actually hold them responsible. But what are we saying? We are saying that our system is gradually deteriorating to a ridicule. Between April and June, 122 security operatives were killed in Nigeria. These include the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, police, and the military. Between the same time I'm talking about,
Yes.
1,825 civilians have been killed. Just about last Friday or something, about 50 Nigerians were abducted in Zamfara State. These are Nigerians. They were abducted in Zamfara State, in Sabongari area of Dami in Zamfara State.
Yes.
Does this not call for concern? Our political elites, those who control the machinery of government, are they not worried that their citizens are being killed like animals? These are concerns. These are things that should bother those that have been voted, that have been mandated, to control the machinery of government. Not re-election. Re-election for us is something you earn.
Right.
As a result of the job you have done. If you have performed creditably well, the people will vote you. You don't even need, they will call you to come again. That is what it's supposed to be. That is what it ought to be. So what we are saying is that INEC should do its bit to try as much as possible to bring those who have contravened the provisions of the extant laws in Nigeria to book.
Right.
Nigerians are yearning to see them being brought. It's just like during elections,
And
some persons.
the statistics you just reeled out, if we're to go by that, is a testament to the fact that truly all of this politicking is affecting governance, whether you're talking about security, whether you're talking about the economy, and what have you. Unfortunately, we're out of time and we'll have to leave it here. Hopefully, they're listening and will, do the right thing for Nigerians and just give them good governance. Thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for joining us on this week. Garuda is Director, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD West Africa, and Dr. Gabriel Nwambu is the Director General, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness.